Good afternoon, Keller Williams, and welcome back to our KW Command Success Story video series. So today I am blessed to be with Angie Hanna of Papasan Properties Group in the Austin area. I know, Angie, you've got several expansion teams there as well. A very busy young lady as the Director of Operations for that amazing team. Thanks for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Nice to be here.
Absolutely. So today we want to talk a little bit about opportunities. I know as Director of Operations, you have multiple agents that you are working with across the board. Talk to us a little bit. First of all, I'm going to let you brag a little bit about how well your team is doing. 2020 has been an amazing year for you guys. So what are y'all tracking for right now as far as transactions and closed volume? How's that looking at? What's going on in your world?
So we are year. Last year we were a little more than that. We're looking at 2 million GCI and about 65 in volume. We do a lot of our business is referrals, so there's a lot going on with that, and we continue to see that coming in. And that's one of the places that Command has been really helpful, is keeping track of all of that paperwork and those referrals coming in.
I love it. So 65 million on track for closed volume and $2 million in GCI, an amazing year of formulating and kind of coming together for Papasan Property Group. So talk to me about opportunities. I know you guys have multiple team members, and we talked earlier about how you use kind of your opportunities pipeline to review what's happening in your agent's world. Talk to me a little bit about that and how that's impacted you as a Director of Operations.
Well, again, as Director of Operations, the budget and the dollars are my number one lens every day. So really going in and looking at those metrics of what's coming up, what's going on, and then in those individual phases, using that to guide my conversations with the people under me. So our marketing person and our listing manager / transaction coordinator and I, every Monday afternoon, we do a sync up, and we're looking at the board and saying, okay, what's going on this week? What's going live on the market? Okay, now that you've had time to get through all the emails from the weekend, what's under contract? You know, what are our numbers? And that's, you know, that, like I said, that's kind of how we start framing the week on Monday afternoon after everybody's had time to digest everything from the weekend.
Well, I love it. So it sounds like you're using tech to kind of keep up to date with what's gone under contract, what could be going under contract, what should be going under contract, right? You talked to me earlier about as well how you have the phases for each one of your buyer's agent or your listing agent. And when they put something into a certain phase or stage, it triggers some activity on your team. Talk to me more about that.
So for both the buyers and the listings, as soon as an appointment gets set, that triggers for our VA team to set up the documents for that. So get the rep agreements and the notices and everything. So then they go ahead and get the DocuSign room set up so that, you know, and they preload things. And so then the agents just have to fill in those last few details when they go on their appointments.
That's awesome. You also talked to me about how you and your Director of Growth and then Wendy kind of meet with your sales team periodically to kind of do some, you know, coaching appointments and just consultative and finding out how people are doing. Would you mind sharing your screen and kind of show us your opportunity pipeline and how you do that? I think there are some rainmakers out there that may not even know how they can actually show each one of their individual agents' pipelines.
Sure. So here on, when you go to opportunities, this is kind of your first screen. So right now this is showing everybody on our team, but then for an individual conversation, I can come here, and if I want to just see what Warren is doing, I can choose Warren, and then we see, you know, where he is, what's going on with his listings. I don't see anything under cultivate right now, so he probably hasn't updated this in a couple of days, but Warren has closed 40 something deals already this year himself. So he's got a lot going on. And then with one of our buyer's agents, here's Athea. And so again, we can come here and sort of look at where things are, but then also, especially when we get to this under contract stage, talk about what do we need to do to keep moving everything forward. Our transaction coordinator meets with the agents every week. They have a check-in call, and she's able to kind of go through this. And then as well, we use the checklists here. So like, this isn't a great example of one, but we've got checklists that auto-populate on every stage of the pipeline. And so then the agents and our transaction coordinator can use that in their weekly check-ins to talk about what's been done, what still needs to be done, whether it's by the agent, by the transaction coordinator, the VA, whomever it may be.
That's awesome. So it sounds like basically a mixture of your admin account and then your buyer agent or listing account, right? Each one of those agents has their account and they're checking off the items that they're getting done. So it's a clear correspondence between your support world and your sales world, and those coming together to kind of get that transaction closed in general.
Yes, and it's been really nice because, for example, we've had a couple of things go on with our team lately where people have been out very unexpectedly, and the marketing manager and I were able to go into the transactions and see what had been done and what needed to be done, you know, which lender check-in emails had been sent and which ones we still needed to send. And we were able to then, you know, go into her email and get that all executed. So that has worked well.
That's awesome. And so those were all custom checklist items that you guys built out.
Yes.
And it sounds like you could tell by what had been checked off and what hadn't.
Right.
If somebody does manage to, you know, take vacation or something worse happens, right? They get sick or, you know, maternity leave or whatever the fun stuff happens, right? Then you can pick up where that ball was dropped. I don't think maternity leave is a surprise, by the way, as a pregnant dad, right?
No, but we've definitely had all of the above on our team since the pandemic started. We've had maternity leave, we've had deaths in the family, unexpected illness, vacations. We've done it all. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you guys are using those opportunities and those checklists to make sure that, you know, nothing gets dropped and that the transaction, I imagine the buyer or seller doesn't even know, right, that things are happening on the back end because you guys are making it seamless by using those checklists as well. So
that's the goal. And, you know, we've been, even with our brand new agents on the team, we've been getting really rave reviews on our Google reviews on their transactions, their very first ones that they close, and getting shouts out to the team. So that's a great metric for us.
That's fantastic. And I wanted to make sure that the audience did know that using command doesn't mean you have to take out the human aspect of things. What's that thing in the background back there? I can see some little squares, but you told us about it earlier. What are those squares and what does that represent?
So that is our kind of following our goals tracker. And I don't know how well people are going to be able to see it, but you see what our goals are for the year. And I haven't updated this number in a couple of days, but year to date. But then these are stickers of all of our agents' faces. And so whenever they get a closing, we add a picture of their face. This used to hang in the office. We're not in the office currently, but I do show it to them a couple of times a week. And our expansion agents have versions in their homes. Nice. And in fact, some of their children, that's their jobs, is their children are responsible for updating the stickers. So
that's awesome. I love it. So you're obviously using tech to have an impact on the business, but you haven't given away the human aspect or the human touch of having the stickers of the faces of all your agents to knock off the transaction.
Absolutely. And, you know, as we've been doing this transition, I feel like we've even probably done even more human touch, because I've done a lot of Zoom calls, especially with our more established agents that are trying to unlearn the former system and learn a new system. And so I've been doing a lot of calls with them where we're clicking through things in Command and DocuSign and learning it all together and troubleshooting. So,
well, and it's an important topic because I know a lot of market centers are like yours, where they are facing or in the process of transitioning from commissions or compliance. And it sounds like I think your market center just went through that compliance changeover, right? This month or last month?
July 1st.
July 1st. So 2 weeks in, how's it going? You guys doing okay?
We're doing pretty well. Our team set a goal to transition June 1st. And so we wanted to have all of our problems before the majority of the market center started having errors. So it's going well now. Another thing I love is that the alerts come back in through command that when things have been approved for compliance, or when a commission's been approved, or when they've been rejected. So, you know, very quickly I can click and see what new alerts have come through. And lately I'm seeing lots of approved, 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 happy, happy, happy. In the beginning, you know, there were some things that were getting rejected, but that's happening less and less. So it's, you know, definitely was a learning curve, but really has not been painful. It's, you know, just a little sticky here and there, but we have made the transition and it's going well.
That's awesome. Well, and I appreciate that, because I think earlier you said, what, tell me about this month again. Is it 11 and 17? But I couldn't remember. 11 closings and 17 pendings, or they're going to close this month, or?
We have 18 left to close this month, and I think we've already closed 15. So wow. Yeah.
Look at me selling you short, Angie. I'm sorry about that, right? Like, I should have known. And yet that many deals a month, and yet you made that transition, and it, you know, it doesn't sound like you're that much worse for wear, a little bit of a learning curve, but overall, if you were talking to other agents or teams who are facing that transition, what would you say?
Again, it's going to be okay. It's really not as daunting as it seems, but then I would also say kind of do some of that lead work, build out those checklists and get those in there, because it will enhance your communication. We do have the additional challenge of being in 4 different market centers with our expansion teams, and we have those checklists customized for each location. And so that's also helpful when we're trying to remember, oh wait, we're switching to Houston now. Oh, we're switching to Minneapolis. And so those customized pieces in there help keep us all on the same page. Even though we're flipping pages back and forth multiple times per day.
Fantastic. But at least you know what's on that page, right? You move to that page and boom, there's your checklist ready to go. So Angie, I appreciate it. I know as Director of Operations for Papasan Properties Group, I want to make sure I say that correctly, Wendy and Jay, that you've got a lot on your plate, and I appreciate you spending time. If the audience wants to give back, right, and send referrals to you and your team, you guys are all over the place. So before I butcher it, let's hear where you guys are, where they can send referrals to.
We are in Austin, Dallas, Houston, and Minneapolis. You can definitely send them through command to Wendy Papasan. If you're trying to find our expansion agents, office at papasanproperties.com, or ping us on our Facebook page. We'll get back to you right away. We would love to have your referrals and work with your clients.
Well, fantastic. Well, hey, I appreciate your time and sharing with us how your team is utilizing opportunities and your checklist at the highest level and having a lot of success with command. So as always, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for leaning in. Thanks for learning more about KW Command, and we'll continue to find more success stories to bring to you here in the future. Thanks again, Angie. Have a great day.
You too.